I no longer see the option to live stream to Facebook with this update. So we might just have to post it later. Good news is the recording is working. All right. Dan, I am ready if you are. Are you ready? You are muted if you are talking.
Let me post a quick document over here in the chat. This is a Google Drive folder that you can access. There's going to be 3 files in there. One is the scenario description that the students have worked through, and then each of the 2 teams, their projects are posted. So I'll go ahead and let you do a quick intro here, Aaron, and then we'll kick things off.
If that's for the attendees, can you post that under the chat to panelists and attendees? That way, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, welcome everybody to our first ever DeltaV Ops 201 project presentations. We are super excited about this. It's a brand new curriculum. It's a brand new instructor. It's brand new students. And so we're really, really excited at DeltaV to be able to offer this. And I wanted to make sure that we pointed out that this is really thanks to our partners. This is a unique situation that we have in kicking off this new curriculum. I think everybody knows we have amazing corporate sponsors for our DeltaV Code School, but we also have some amazing partners for this new DeltaV Ops curriculum. So, obviously Future Ready Iowa with the Employer Innovation Fund and the Coronavirus Impacted Fund through the CARES Act has made funding available so that students can go through this. Students who have been impacted by the COVID pandemic, whose job has been impacted, can attend this and get tuition scholarships, as well as the kits that are required in order to go through this program, the physical components that they are dealing with when going through this class is all covered by those grants, which has been amazing. And we've got students that are coming in from corporate partners too that are hiring for help desk analyst positions and network and system administration positions. So Involta is a huge supporter, CCR is a huge supporter, and Project Iowa is also doing one. Project Iowa is based out of Des Moines, and they're doing one in our next cohort that starts in January. And so they're going to have some students go through this, but it's also open to anyone who wants to participate. So if you're kind of looking at this thinking this might be a good fit for you, something that you'd be interested in doing, we do have another cohort of this coming up. And so I think I've got it as January 25th through February 26th is going to be our next 102 and 201 ops course. And so obviously Dan's still leading that. And these are some of the things that you're going to see in these project presentations as to what the students learn. Students who have come from a variety of backgrounds, I'm sure they'll maybe touch on that, having maybe zero experience in IT to maybe having some experience in IT. But I think you're going to be impressed with seeing what they've learned in the last 5 weeks. And then I think everybody also knows that DeltaV started off as a code school, and we still have a code school. And so if you're interested in seeing if coding would be up your alley, we have a 101 coming up on January 16th. And, obviously these classes are all over Zoom these days, so you can take it from home. Due to the pandemic, we're still giving away our Code 101 and also our Code 102 programs for Iowans who are interested in taking these classes. So if you think coding might be more your speed, be sure to check out our 101 on January 16th. And both of these things you can learn more about at deltavcodeschool.com. So just wanted to throw those things out before Dan takes it away with the students.
So we're really excited about this. Everything that we try to do with our students and with the instruction that we deliver is career oriented. So the scenario we came up with today is very much based off of problems that you're facing. If you haven't had a chance to look at it, we basically simulate a 3-site manufacturing environment in which the headquarters, where everything's centralized, is unable to be accessed due to COVID. So we had a guest speaker come in and talk about, actually with an MSP background, talk about the challenge of just adapting quickly, looking at new pricing models, looking at support. And based on that, we talked to the students and said, maybe we want to try doing something that's a little more relevant, a little more current than kind of the generic scenarios that we sometimes see in projects. So Aaron's going to start promoting our first group on here in just a quick second. So the video is going to change a little bit. But I did want to let you know that the next couple of classes.
Oh, you went on mute, Dan, for some.
Sorry about that. I'm doing the space bar unmute thing and I switched screens there for a quick second. So March 5th is when these students will be completing their Ops 301. So up through the 201, we've started to introduce concepts of system administration. Again, recognizing that there is no prereq to this course outside of our 1 week 102. So these are individuals who haven't had IT experience before. We know the projects are at varying levels of complexity and depth, but by the end of 301, they're going to be prepared to really manage the entire network. We're going to have them working in Windows Server 2019. We're going to have them working a little bit with Exchange. They're going to be masters at GNS and building different router and network configs. So we're really excited, and we'll make sure to get that invite out. And then we're also going to have another group similar to these folks earlier in March with another 201 presentation. So again, thank you so much for taking your time today and joining us. And with that, I'll kick off Mallard Innovations.
Darren, we're not hearing you.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for being here. We are Mallard Innovations. Our objective is to overhaul north-south components of Iowa's network to prepare them for remote work due to COVID-19. With our innovative solutions, north-south components will be safer, faster, and more efficient, even with the difficulties presented by COVID-19. A quick introduction to the team. I'm Darren Carr. We have Danielle Lahr. We have Donald Contreras and Chase Nichols. And Chase, let's dig into the details.
Thank you, Darren. So I will begin with a brief overview of the environment we are working with, as well as some of the issues we found and the improvements we would like to implement. One moment while I take control of the screen. There we go. So we started by drawing up this diagram of the current working environment at North-South Components. So you can kind of tell there's some missing information here. So our first step coming into this project would be to perform a full site analysis and formally document the full network configuration, all of the internal devices, more than just this kind of base diagram. Right now, all of the DNS traffic is coming through HQ, which poses some obvious security risks, both internally and externally, as well as some performance issues in business operations and communication between the locations. We then also noticed that there's a fair amount of outdated devices and equipment. They have a 20-year-old DSL internet connection coming into Plant 1, and these Cisco devices here, as well as the router and firewall in Plant 2 are all outdated. So after this initial device upgrade, the company's HQ, as mentioned, needs to prepare for supporting a remote environment for its employees to work from home. Also, management has expressed concerns with production decrease due to inefficient communications between their locations. So implementing an AWS cloud server to support the remote users and improve the network configuration as a whole will also put into place tighter security measures through an encrypted VPN. Danielle and Darren are going to touch on this in a little bit, but we will accomplish this with working Active Directory and remote desktop connection for all of the users, where we can build an environment to host and support all of the employees and their needs in one place. We've also implemented an AWS Linux server to support universal file sharing and an improved backup system that won't rely on the employees performing the backup manually. We have prepared some standard operating procedures and change management procedures, as well as some other documentation for the IT team and management to help facilitate this transition in a more efficient manner. And so for that, I'll pass it over to Scott.
Thanks, Chase. So it sounds like a lot of changes that are going on. As Chase pulled up the network diagram, it's considerably more complex than before. So it might seem a little bit daunting right now, but I want to let you know that we've gone through it. We've created some documentation for organizing your transition and for making that switch from the outdated network into a more streamlined, secure, also a more centralized network. Here's our transitions manual that we've created for you that will list out the individual items and how they'll be implemented into your transition. The first document that I want to go through here is going to be the physical location changes. Some of the touch points on there are the network connection for plant 1 is going to have a fiber connection upgrade, and that'll have to be something that you won't be able to accomplish yourself. We'll have to contract out. So we want to make sure that that's taken care of first, as well as in the background here, creating your remote desktop and server locations. Once we have all that in place, then we can start rolling into some of the physical changes as we've outlined. Some of the firewall router configurations, updates. We've gone with a FortiGate 200E firewall and router, one that can offer a lot better throughput than the current 10 megabit per second Cisco 2501. We've also made available some switches for your network to help organize and provide better connectivity through your network. Also, with that switch, we'll also include some wireless access points, so you can have better reach and connectivity as opposed to just having one centralized router. So what we're describing there is all these changes. This is the document that we've made. It's a service catalog, and it allows you to organize all your devices into one location. Also details out the individual aspects of the items, and also can break down cost. We also included reference links for supporting information set up in that. So this will be a document that you'll want to keep with you, expand on. We can offer this a service to you guys as a site analysis and create one, or else you guys could just take this form and run with it. The other section that we're going to touch on is not the physical location transformation, but the remote users. One of the big changes you guys are going to be going through is dealing with the shift from a lot of in-person workers to going to remote setup. So we've thought through this process in depth, and we've given you a manual that you can follow through from start to finish that will lead you to having remote workers who are prepared to work. They have the physical requirements that they need to in order to complete their work on their provided laptops, provided phones, printer usage as well an option. We also covered remote access for wireless connectivity. We've also given you a manual to set up these laptops. As far as the IT department is concerned, they can walk through this list, and then when the remote user obtains the laptop, they'll be able to log in and go directly from there into being productive in a productive environment. Also included some guides as far as remote work equipment requests. This will be something that can organize this procedure and this switch from each individual aspect. They can walk through it, request the items that they need. We also considered reimbursements here. We don't want to have your employees feeling like they're not being taken care of. So we've thought of and recommended a few different items as far as reimbursements. Something such as like a phone usage would be a reimbursement that you could use. They can use their own phone, but we also provide one for them, so they don't feel like they're just fronting the bill for that, since their phone usage will most likely be used a lot more for for work purposes at this point. One of the things that this will kind of lead into is the budget. There are a lot of things being thrown at you right now as far as costs, a lot of additional items being added into your workflow. We've gone over a few different options here, or provided a few different options for services that we can offer. We can do a site analysis ourselves, which will be a comprehensive analysis of your current devices, so we can add those to the service catalog and get that more updated, and then also make some recommendations as far as the quantity of devices that we'll be using. We do also offer remote desktop server and training support to get your employees to the point where the IT department can manage the remote desktops and the servers and be able to set that up and feel comfortable transitioning into that sort of environment. We've also covered the cost of the cloud arrangement and agreement, and that's broken down here. You'll find through the rest of this, there's individual items. Some of the quantities on here will have to be adjusted to your service catalog and your site analysis. So all of this seems like it's a lot going on, but Danielle and Darren will go through how this will be implemented, how you'll actually use it in your day-to-day, and why this is all worth the cost that we have here today. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Scott, and we will turn it over to the other team here.
Wonderful. So we'll take just a second. We're going to swap out, and we're going to have the other team will come in now. So the A team is going to take over for a few minutes, and they're going to share kind of their same project scenario. So while Aaron goes ahead and promotes them and welcomes them to the floor, I do want to take a quick second to just share two ways that we really try to grow an IT community. So today attending, we've got Samantha Dalby, who many of you know for her outreach with K-12 efforts. And then we also have Gary Vogt, who coordinates the IT sector board locally. So both of these are great options to get involved. We're excited that they're committed to helping grow not only what they've done on the code side of the house, but starting to do more support with network and sysadmin, and just raising awareness and getting education in the hands of people sooner rather than later. So definitely watch for opportunities to chip in and support that work in the future. With that, I'll go ahead and welcome the A team and let you take it from here.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you very much, Aaron. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. We are Team A, and my name is Alex Shields, and we look forward to sharing with you the proposals that we have this morning. North-South Components of Iowa has been a presence in Iowa for over 3 generations, and as with many well-run companies whose existence has spanned multiple decades, adapting to new technology has not been at the forefront of the company's vision or strategy. With the company moving towards a potential IPO in the future, and while navigating a new work environment with COVID, it's in a unique and advantageous position to reassess and rethink how it utilizes technology from the top down. So a couple of the current technical challenges. The technical makeup of the company is in a functional state, but there are many processes and parts of the current technical infrastructure that should be considered tinderboxes that could catch fire at any moment. The current file backup process does not currently provide for the assured integrity and availability of the company's data. This process requires a buy-in from every user to manually copy files every day to a server, which is then backed up only on site on tape. Relying on end users for this action adds an incredible margin of error to the process. When it comes to communication and collaboration, the tools do not work for the employee, but rather the contrary. Having access to files and the sharing of files is currently a broken process, with employees having to bridge multiple platforms to accomplish this task. Additionally, with these employees working at home on their own devices, we are not able to guarantee that compromised devices are not connected to our internal network. With these issues and the added burden of supporting employee at-home networks and devices, our IT department has been pushed to capacity, and they cannot function efficiently without both structural changes as well as creating a more streamlined process for supporting users in any location. With all that said, our first priority must be to secure the on-premises infrastructure and network. I'll let Angelica give you an overview of that current network as it stands today.
Great, thanks, Alex. So there are a few major security concerns with the network as it exists currently. First, headquarters does not have a sufficient firewall. So the only thing operating as any sort of protection for the network is a switch. This means that everything in the network is open to the public internet. Anyone is able to find their IP address and have access to all of the company information located at this site, including potentially proprietary documents and files. Second, employees access the machines at Plant 2 by remotely connecting through an open port in the firewall. So like the setup at headquarters, anyone can find the open port and gain access to this equipment. What's even more dangerous is that at this location, the risk isn't just in data security. If a hacker were able to remotely connect to the machines at Plant 2, they could potentially be able to manipulate equipment settings, and this creates a physical risk to the NSCI employees and the site. And lastly, the security at Plant 1 could be improved by reconfiguring the system from WEP to WPA. When a router is set with a WEP encryption key, it gives the same key to every single device on the network to encrypt every single data packet. The only way to change a WEP key is to do so manually on every device, which is time-consuming and unlikely to happen regularly. And even with changed WEP keys, it's still not all that difficult to hack into a system by intercepting data packets that all have the same key. It may take some effort to ensure all the devices on the network are configured for WPA, but the features like TKIP and user authentication protocol allow for a much more secure connection.
Our new network will focus on these secure connections and adding resiliency as well. With placing our business critical servers into the cloud, we are able to place the hardware responsibilities on AWS's shoulders, also known as Amazon Web Services. The service durability and reliability provided by AWS allow our IT department to focus less on servers and hardware and more on supporting our employees. Amazon's shared service responsibility model dictates that their responsibility is the secure of their infrastructure, hardware, and network, while our responsibilities would be to just secure the data itself. For company connectivity, we are able to harness the feature set and functionality of AWS's virtual private cloud networking. Moving the central connection point for VPN access into our VPC gives us flexibility when it comes to unplanned structural changes due to COVID conditions or restrictions. This is critical for the upcoming HQ building closure and allows for more IT maintenance and responsibilities to occur offsite rather than requiring unnecessary building occupancy. Service security is a priority for AWS, and they build multiple kinds of access controls into every product they offer at multiple levels. We will utilize these controls to lock down our network and keep all internal traffic and cloud resources behind firewalls. All access will be routed through our VPN, which we'll use AWS's VPN product, which keeps all traffic encrypted and provides access logging as well. With that, I will let Carla talk a little bit about how we can improve IT operations and support.
Thank you. As you know, with our current ticket tracking system, there is room for improvement. We would like to increase our response and resolution time, communication, and ongoing knowledge base. With this in mind, we would like to start using Spiceworks. Spiceworks is a web-based product that the IT department can use to track and resolve issues, keep an inventory of company devices, and help with performance monitoring of the team. We will be able to use Spiceworks for inventory control. With the inventory control, we will quickly know if something can be easily replaced when requested, or if we need to order it. The IT manager can monitor and review the tickets for coaching of employees and ongoing training. Automatic network monitoring is available in Spiceworks, but given the recent developments with SolarWinds, we will not be implementing this for a while. However, automatic network monitoring could be useful in the future. For the employees, the process is quite simple. All they need to do is to send an email to help@nsci.com, and it will be sent to the help desk, who will then log a ticket and either resolve the issue or assign it to another technician. With the initial email, the employee will receive an automated response with the ticket ID for tracking purposes. It is our goal that the tickets will be resolved in a more timely manner, and documentation will take place within the knowledge base for the entire department to access in the future, which will then in turn reduce our resolution time even further. Now I will hand it off to Will to give an overview about the new automation process.
Hey there, everybody. So as mentioned earlier, it's imperative that file backups are secure, flexible, and eliminate the risk of user error. So as a result, we've taken the initiative to move on from the insecure open port connection method and have opted to automate the entire process through password and key-based connections. Every day, the backup folder is sent to an instanced AWS Windows server for collection. The collection is sent to an instanced AWS Linux server that parses the files, and the files are then sent to an AWS S3 bucket for storage and retrieval. What we'll be showing you shortly is a proof of concept design, and we plan to implement parsing the domain and user information in order to sort files into respective location directories. This resilient and fully automated backup method allows for easy retrieval by domain administrators at any time.
So with that, we're gonna switch teams on you again, and looking forward to seeing.
Wait,
Actually-
we have a budget.
Oh,
Dan.
you have more. Okay, I heard a pause. I'm sorry.
Yeah, unless is this all free? No. All right, just one more budget thing.
All of these changes are exciting, but I'm sure you really want to know the investment costs. We have done quite a bit of research with our proposals implemented and would incur these monthly recurring costs. For a more detailed breakdown, please refer to your handouts. To migrate to the AWS servers would be around $600. Spiceworks is technically free, but we do have the option to replace the banner ads with our logo for $42 a month. Antivirus protection on the new laptops would be about $500. Site-to-site VPN is about $50, and Salesforce is $500, and Office 365 is $1,600, for a total of just over $3,400 a month. To provide laptops for all of the employees would be a one-time charge of approximately $172,000. In order to allow headquarters to work remotely right after the first of the year with no downtime, we are requesting approved overtime for our IT department in the amount of $5,000. With the changes, we will incur ongoing monthly charges, but our infrastructure will be secure and employees can continue to work even while out of the office. Thank you for your time today. In our next meeting, we will demonstrate how our recommendations will keep our data confidential, accurate, and available. Thank you.
So thank you for letting me slip in there a little early. This is the fun of teaching online and working in this environment. And the students have been absolutely marvelous working through it. We've had some challenges, teaching things like how to make a patch cord, and Aaron's going to work on swapping in the next team for us. But patch cords aren't easy to teach remote, where you're kind of holding up the wire and like orange, white. Okay, stretch it out, right? But we managed to get through it. We've had students who have had internet drop out for a moment. I know yesterday when we were doing mock presentations, my internet went out for a moment. So we've all been there. But really pleased with just the tenacity and the grit with which the students have prepared for and addressed this and overcome the challenge. And it looks like the other team is just about there. So we'll let them take off with their live demo right away.
This now starts the second part of our presentation. This is where we demo everything, and me and Darren will take it over from Chase and Scott. What I will be showing you is how to use remote desktop. But the first thing I want to show you is why you actually do need remote desktop. So the reason you might need remote desktop, which is a solution for the problem you have, which is due to COVID-19, you have your headquarters closing down and your plants may close down too. So you're going to have a lot of displaced workforce that cannot access anything on the site. So they won't be able to get the files that they need. They won't be able to work. And this is what will happen when these employees are out of work. Can't access the server, your business will come to a stop. And the solution is remote desktop. The reason we pick remote desktop is it's already built into computers with a Windows operating system. And the laptops we have chosen are ones that have a Windows operating system in them. And when you use remote desktop, you need less hardware because all the computing is done in the cloud through Amazon. And that's through two different servers we have set up, a Windows server and a Linux server for file sharing. And as long as you have remote desktop, employees can work from anywhere as long as they have computer and the internet. So what exactly is remote desktop? Remote desktop is built into Windows and it's a program that you have on your physical PC that you use to link to your virtual work PC. And this will connect you to the company resources that we have set up through our Windows and Linux server. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to use remote desktop. So when an employee gets a computer, such as this one, this is the physical computer. I'm controlling Darren's and we are miles away from each other. You'll have a shortcut set up. You'll already have remote desktop installed. So you'll click the shortcut and it'll come up with this. This right here is the computer name. So that's your virtual computer that you'll log into. And then here's the username, and I will put in my password. And what that will do is log me into my virtual workspace that we have all been using this whole time. So it logged me in. There's my presentation right there. Whoops, I just logged myself back out. Which is good that you can log back in. So if your employees accidentally log themselves out, it is very easy for them to get back in. And as you can see, here is remote desktop, and we've got shortcuts over here that you would populate with stuff you want your employees to have. And my associate, Darren, will show you a little bit more about the back end and how that is all set up. So Darren, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Danielle. We're gonna go ahead and jump into my own remote desktop connection here, and we're gonna start talking about Active Directory here. We're gonna show you just really easily how easy it is to set up new users. You can see here in our directory we have all of our names. That'll be me for the time being, and we have some extra users. we have administrator privileges on our accounts, and we have just regular user access for the others. So it's as simple as going in, giving a name for our guest, putting in their username, and that's, oops, you probably want to spell it correctly. And click next, give them a password, do something generic, and have them change it at the next logon so that they can personalize their password. And that's it, we have a new user, and it's just as easy as disabling to remove a user. So that's our Active Directory. And the other bit we want to show you here is not only is your folder and files shared and stored in the cloud, we have a Linux server that we have shared in between Windows and Amazon. So we have our share folder here. It's got our Mallard Innovation file, and here we should be able to view Ubuntu. And I'm in our desktop Windows share here. Let's go ahead and just list the contents of that folder. Okay, so we see it matches. It matches what we have over in Windows. But let's say people are working in it actively. So if we add a new folder, we go back over to our Ubuntu, and let's list those file contents again. And we've got instant update of that new folder and the new files in our Ubuntu. Now, what we can do is automate a process to back up those files. So we still have those in there, but if we change to our backup, and you can see just a second ago I ran this rsync command, we change over to the backup folder of Windows Share, and we have all of our backups from previous files. This will have our new administration folder, which is here, and we can delete folders from our Windows server and still see that update in Ubuntu. Let me get back there really quick. There we go. So if we throw that and we see that new administration folder is gone. So beyond that, I want to kind of describe and share how this works. This is through Amazon's EC2, and I just want to give you a brief overview of the dashboard here. So we have our instance here. This is the Windows server, and below is my own personal Linux server that I've got running. The one that we're currently using for our file share is hosted by Danielle on her account. And in our instance, we have all of this data, we have all of this information, but all we really need to make sure of is we have a static IP address so that our systems can communicate regularly, and make sure that we have our security policies set. Amazon makes it really easy to set these up and manage them. And if you need to start fresh, it's always possible to just make a new instance. And so with that, I would like to then show you a quick little demonstration of remote app. So we have our IP address, right? This is the IP of our Windows server. You can see right there. And this is just a stock web page. You are able to host a web page here. And if we go to /RD web, we have a login page, kind of like what we see when we try and log into RDS. So let's go ahead and put in a password here, log in, and we have access to these apps. So for instance, let's say this is, instead of Server Manager, it's QuickBooks. And you want to keep your connection to QuickBooks private and secure. Well, instead of having a full remote desktop connection, you can have just the single instance of only the app. So you would put in the domain with a backslash and the username and a password. This will allow you to bridge a connection and use this remote app on any operating system, anywhere, as long as you have an internet connection and the login information. This, combined with the VPN FortiGate and the FortiClient that we have suggested, that Scott mentioned, provides you a completely secure method of utilizing your work resources from anywhere. So to recap, we are Mallard Innovations, and we will increase your security, upgrade your network capability, and create a smooth, easy transition for your workers to begin working from home. Thank you.
So we'll go ahead and swap teams again. And during the swap, I just want to really applaud all of the students for their dedication to lifelong learning and really starting to think about what it is that they want to continue to learn about, how they're going to grow beyond just the mandated curriculum that we've put in front of them. And some of the examples of things they came up with were excellent. We saw constantly as I worked with them, well, why would I do this? Why would I do this? And I encourage that just indefinitely as they start their IT careers. Heavily involved in user groups and forums and trying to find things out there on the internet to connect with. So definitely, if you have ideas of guest speakers, if you have a topic you want to share with this group in the future or with other classes that we've got, please get in touch. With that, we'll turn it back to the A team.
Thank you, Dan. In the next couple of minutes, we're going to go on not a deep dive, but maybe a shallow dive of some of the services and configurations that we are proposing more in depth. So this is our new network proposal, and as stated before, it's crucial for us to secure our network as the very first step. Plant number 1 and plant number 2 have the security hardware in place, but we must update their firewall rules to reflect our new policy of internal-only traffic. Our machine operators will now connect to our VPN and use internal IP addresses to connect to their machinery instead of public IPs with open ports. Currently, HQ is without any security device, despite currently hosting all company servers. To rectify this, we will acquire and install a Cisco ASA 5505 device for security and a Cisco 4221 for routing capabilities. Our employees will gain access to our network by connecting to our AWS client VPN endpoint. And this will use the same Active Directory credentials, as you'll see in a little bit, which they use for their own personal computers at home. This endpoint exists in our virtual private cloud that already exists with our servers, and clients will obtain an IP address in the 10.100.100.0/23 pool. This currently gives us roughly 500 available IP addresses for remote workers, and this can be scaled accordingly, up or down. Until we can verify the integrity of all devices used by employees in the form of providing new provisioned hardware from us, with antivirus and lockdown with group policy, we will operate the VPN in a full tunnel mode. When we are safe to do so, we can switch this to a split tunnel mode, which will allow employees in our buildings to use their own internet connections for all outside traffic, which will increase bandwidth significantly. Our buildings will connect to our VPC in a similar manner, but rather than on a client-by-client basis, we will utilize a AWS site-to-site VPN connection for each building. This allows us to set up a VPN functionality building-wide by using on-site network hardware to build those tunnels, and it provides a cost savings as well.
So for employee collaboration and communication, using one unified environment is going to be key for achieving optimal productivity levels. By utilizing Office 365, employees can keep emails, documents, spreadsheets, and other shareable files together. Access and sharing controls are embedded in Office, making it simple to share your files quickly and configure viewing or editing access on a person-by-person level. An additional ability is the co-authoring tool, which allows 2 employees to edit and work on a file simultaneously, as if they were looking at the same computer screen in a cubicle. The integration of Microsoft Teams into the environment gives us the ability to connect employees together in an instant through text, audio, or video communication. We can also expand on this and use Teams to host video meetings with up to 350 people. With this new collaboration method, inter-office communication is as easy as ever, and questions can be answered in near real time. An important feature not yet touched upon in Office 365 is how it's accessed. In the past, Office was only available through downloaded or installed software, which required a user to use a specific computer to access these devices. With Microsoft's movement towards cloud computing, They have similarly made the Office suite accessible through any internet browser or rich mobile device. To access any Office program, you simply need to navigate to office.com and log in. This updated software as a service platform will help users navigate through their workday with speed and efficiency.
We will be able to integrate the use of Salesforce and Office 365 to mainstream the production schedule at the plants. Headquarters would use Salesforce to upload sales and data information, while the plants would be able to use the data loader tool in Salesforce to export the data into Excel. With Excel and Office 365, as Angelica had just said, anyone can log in and open it to view the schedule. However, permissions would be set in Excel that only management at the plants could edit. At the end of the shift, management would import the updated information back into Salesforce for headquarters to view. This updated process with our newly implemented tools would improve communication between the headquarters and plants to increase production results.
All right, and with that, I'd like to go into a quick demo of how our file backup system works, as well as a quick rundown of the structure of our Active Directory. So I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen here. Now, this is the client computer. This would be anybody working on any sort of remote laptop or anything from home. As we can see, we've got a file backup folder here with a text document. For demonstration purposes, we would have standard backup files in here normally. We can see here that at 2 a.m. Central Time every day, 8 a.m. UTC, task will run that runs this script. This script is set to basically pass parameters off to an RDP client and begin the session. So if we do that, we can see that we are now in our Windows server. Now, just like the client, we can see there's a folder for backups that is currently empty. So upon connecting to the RDP session, the server will run a task that runs a script to pull the file off of the client computer and onto the server. We'll go ahead and we'll run that. And we can now see that the folder as well as the file are now located onto the server. As soon as that program runs, another scheduled task runs that runs a script to send the file to the Linux server. Now I'm going to go ahead and open the Linux server very quickly to show what we've got here. If we check the backups folder, we can see we've got a folder for HQ Plant 1, Plant 2. Again, proof of concept of parsing those files and distributing them accordingly. But nothing about the current backup. So let's go ahead, we'll run this script again. And if we check again, there it is. There's our folder containing the file. Now from here, the only thing left to do is for this Linux server to pass the information to the S3 bucket. Well, we can view the S3 bucket here. If we open up the HQ document, we can see there's nothing there. Now this is also set up to run automatically at a certain time using a cron job. We can see down here that 8 a.m. UTC every day, we've got an HQ Plant 1, Plant 2 folder. For this purpose, we will be sending that one as well as creating a log for errors and, just tracking information as to what has happened. So we'll go ahead and we'll run that real quick. Oh, the backup, the error one didn't generate because I think it already is there. However, let's go ahead, we'll refresh our HQ. There's our file. This would normally be the backup file that can be accessed by any sort of administrator. So speaking of, we'll take another quick look at our Active Directory and how we have that configured. We actually have this configured so that multiple sites will have their own encapsulated information. We can see here that we have 3 different sites, HQ, Plant 1, and Plant 2, which their own respective users. So we'll go ahead and we'll open up HQ. Philip Fry here. Yep, let's go ahead. We'll check him out. Philip Fry is the IT manager at HQ, so it's probably important that he does have administrative credentials. So if we open up the member of, we can see that not only is he a domain user, but he is a domain admin as well. Now compare that to somebody at Plant One. Let's check out Alex here. Alex is a product engineer at Plant One, so most likely doesn't need any sort of administrative credentials. So he's just part of the domain users. Now this can be changed at any time. New users can be created, removed, or credentials can be added and removed by existing administrators. So it allows a lot of flexibility. With that, we've got kind of a proof of concept design for a file backup. The most important takeaway here is that as long as the user is keeping their files within the folder to be backed up, they don't have to do anything. The system will automatically do it all. So with that, we'd like to thank everybody for listening in, and we look forward to being able to implement these designs and concepts to help NSCI grow in this difficult economic time. Thank you very much.
All right, so Aaron's going to invite the other group back in. We're going to go into a Q&A time, but before we do that, I'm going to give all the students a chance to just do a quick 30, 45-second commercial introduction. So Angelica, how about we start with you, and then you can just call who you want next.
Okay, thanks. My name is Angelica. Prior to taking these courses with DeltaV, I had no background in knowledge in computer operations, but I've learned a lot over these past 5 weeks. I'm really thankful to be in this program. I came from a career in distilling, and I'm just really excited to kick off my new IT career. And I'll pass it to Alex because he's next to me on my screen.
Thank you. I'm Alex Shields, and prior to this program, I was a professional music director for theaters around the country, and I was gone 9 months out of the previous year. And then I just taken a vacation until COVID hit, and then obviously theaters are not doing anything. So I took that as an opportunity to pivot into something that I've always had an interest in, and I have some experience with computers, but nothing as structured as this. And it's been really great, not only having the structured instruction of best practices, but as well as the networking help, which I'm terrible at, that Dan has helped with. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I'll go to Carla.
Hello, I am Carla Morford. I have spent the last 20 years in higher education. Due to economic times, I found myself facing a great time to start a new career, and that's why I started DeltaV. Information technology has always been something that has been of interest to me, so it is now time to focus on me and learn the field, and DeltaV has been a great resource to help me grow. I will pass it off to Chase.
Thanks, Carla. So I moved to Iowa about a year ago to pursue a career in tech. I've been a bartender and a cook most of my life. I graduated from the DeltaV coding program in July, and since then have begun building a foundation on the networking and ops side of things. So I'm really excited to move forward with this and see where this crossover of having two perspectives of IT can bring me in the industry. How about Scott?
Hey, my name is Scott Contreras. It was listed under Donald Contreras earlier because of the setup, probably used my first name. So sorry about that. I come from a construction and real estate and also management background. This is completely new to me. So if it shows you how much DeltaV can do in 5 weeks to get somebody up and going, it's pretty crazy. I didn't even know what a Google Doc was when we first started all this. So yeah, it's come a long way. I look forward to keep on growing and moving along this path. So we'll point it to Darren next.
All right, and yes, I did get that a little bit wrong with Scott's name earlier, but it's all behind us now, right? So yeah, I'm Darren. I have a background in percussion performance of all things from the University of Iowa, but after graduating, I've kind of been around the performing arts realm, working as stagehand and production management, and I'm currently the operations manager at Orchestra Iowa, which you could imagine with the current times, it's probably hard for us to get things going, but I really wanted to pursue more information on this realm. I've always had a fascination with technology. I've done a lot of self-teaching over the years, just working with my own computers, and DeltaV has just been really taking me on a deep dive through the world of IT. Let's pass it off to Will.
Sure. My name is Will. I am actually a former student at Kirkwood Community College in the software development program. I had been working in sales for the longest time, and I was actually brought on board at CCR for their R2D2 program, the program that is assisting people who were impacted by COVID and whatnot. So I thought it would be really interesting and really cool to kind of learn IT from the other side of things, as opposed to, software development and coding, learn about network administration. So hopefully after DeltaV, I would like to go ahead and continue on with my training at CCR and take the Network Plus certification exam, the CompTIA and everything like that, and start my career. Let's go ahead and do Danielle. You haven't gone yet, right?
Nope, I haven't. My name is Danielle Lar. I'm a licensed English teacher and school librarian. I decided to pivot into technology because I always wanted to learn more about that. And I also love helping people learn about tech. So this is why I decided to go through the DeltaV program. And I am looking forward to learn more in Ops 301.
Awesome. And with that, we've made it around the table here. So the first question we've got is maybe if I can have one student from each team kind of answer to this. What has it been like to learn all this new terminology and some of these alphabet soup phrases, WEP, WPA, WAP, and manage just all these things coming at you that you might not have familiarity to?
Well, I guess I'll go. I think my approach to it has been really just that deliberate, constant practice. Studying, obviously, like there's going to be confusion with terms, but like when you hit that confusion, it's just a matter of diving deeper into what you need to learn to understand it. And for retaining all of this information, it is a lot, but just that deliberate practice goes a long way.
I can take it for our team. It's been exciting and overwhelming and more excitement as you learn those terms and understand how everything meshes together and how like one term you learned on day 2, all of a sudden on day 7, like commences with something else and you're like, everything just starts to click and it's exciting, but overwhelming.
So I'm wondering if maybe we can have one person from each team kind of talk about how your background in another career has influenced or made this either challenging or rewarding. So maybe one of your past experiences and how it connects to this metamorphosis rebirth as you start IT work.
I can take that question. So I'm from Team Mallard. How my background has helped me. I have a background in research, so I'm very used to looking for answers, trying to find the right sources to help lead me to whatever I need to answer, such as looking up user guides or finding the right search terms. How this is, my background is detrimental. I'm very used to being a Windows user and a Mac user. Linux has been my greatest weakness, especially just learning script, because 5 weeks ago I didn't know how to do it. So I've been slowly learning that, but it's still a big weakness of mine.
I could answer for my team. So my previous career prior to starting this program was in distillation, spirit distillation. In that sort of world, it is just a lot of meticulous scrutiny and analyzing detail. So the contents of what I'm distilling, or the lab work of the yeast I'm trying to put in, and what effects that will have on the product I'm creating. And I found that this has been a tool I can lean on in my transition to IT. Something like scripting, where you could have the perfect script created, but it won't run properly if you have a space where you shouldn't have it, or a backslash instead of a forward slash. So I actually really enjoyed working with PowerShell particularly. And I thought that my previous career in that area helped me sort of acclimate to the level of detail that you need to pay attention to for something like running a script.
So next, thinking a little bit about, and I do recognize it's just a minute or two past 11. So for those that are watching that need to take off, we completely understand. But taking just a quick second, what is one lesson learned from you, a way that you've grown, or maybe a new process that you've gone through to overcome a mistake or a challenge? And again, we'll have one person from each team answer.
So I'll go for our team. This whole process started out where it was extremely overwhelming. There's a lot of new phrases, terminology, a lot of like know-how, how to like figure everything out. Like you don't have that big picture quite yet. And initially it was kind of a struggle to get through it, but eventually you kind of evolve into a type of person where like you just accept that you probably don't know what it is right off the back when you're learning all these new items, and you begin to figure out how to find them out, or how to find out like your solution. I think that was the biggest thing, is like this whole switch from like using your own knowledge to being able to find it correctly and efficiently.
Google. Say no more.
Yeah. I guess I can try to field this. So I am a pretty cautious person. I tend to have kind of a lot of self-doubt. And I will say that the 201 program has moved fast, and it can seem really intimidating at first. However, one of the things that I've come to learn is that even though it's coming fast and it's intimidating and it can be frustrating and stuff like that, when you start seeing like the results and they just start clicking and just coming bam bam bam, it's really fun and really cool to see, because you can see yourself learning and progressing. So I guess one of the things that I've learned that I've kind of overcome is hesitancy. Don't be afraid to kind of take that step to try new things. It might not work. In fact, it's probably not going to work the first time you try it. That's kind of the whole point. Just go for it, because it's so satisfying when it does.
And then that kind of leads into, and I will share, Will is not a shy person on camera. We just forced him to sit on his Linux box today, and he doesn't have a webcam. So apologies for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. The setup does not allow for me to use a camera.
But his answer was a perfect seed for the next question of someone who's thinking about jumping into the career or jumping into the program. Based on what you've learned these past 5 weeks, what would you tell that person on day one?
It's less about memorization of things, more about surrounding yourself with new ideas and topics and ways of solving things, rather than the actual solution. You just need to focus on the overall picture of, this is how this is done, and I can remind myself, again with Google, I mean, you can remind yourself about things, and that's what it's about. It's not about knowing everything, because that's impossible. So it's just about sitting in it and just being a part of it for a while and absorbing.
Yeah, I think that that really goes a long way. For someone considering the ops curriculum, I mean, step one is buckle up because it is a ride, and you it'll feel like you're getting left behind, but no one will do that to you. We all work together. Dan is fantastic at keeping people up to speed, and really, it's a great way to push yourself. It's a good challenge, and as Alex said, I mean, it doesn't get any more defined than this is problem solving and critical thinking. That's in a way that's what Dan is teaching us.
Yeah, I would also like to add on to that. Day one recommendation I can make to somebody: um, ask questions to all these people. All these people, you know, like they're my people, but your people, they're going to be your friends. We're all kind of like, stuck in the mud together and trying to figure it out. And nobody is gonna fault you for having a question or saying, "Hey, I'm having trouble with this. Are you?" Because you really build a sense of camaraderie. We actually have weekly get-togethers after our like sessions and stuff like that, where we just talk and hang out, just to kind of decompress, and it's really nice to be able to have that.
I would say on day one, just keep swimming.
Yeah, so we've definitely come a long way in the 5 weeks. Again, a lot of it has been just the exceptional drive of these students. We've been able to include some industry partners in class conversations, and some people from my network that might not hire these students because they're, my network's mostly Michigan based still, but it gives them an opportunity to really be vulnerable and to be transparent and ask those tough questions. I'm not seeing anything else come in the Q&A, and I know we're tight on time. So I'm going to prompt the students with go ahead and give us each of you a 30-second closer, and tell us what you need or what it is you want to do, or just your final thoughts before we call it a day. And again, thank you everyone for coming along and joining us.
I'm going to volunteer Alex go first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I need nothing. I'm fine. No, I'm going on to 301 and just looking forward to networking more and getting back into the Cedar Rapids. Again, I've been gone for like 6 years doing a completely different thing. So I'm just looking forward to learning more and getting to know more people and looking for where my place is in this industry.
Yeah, I think I would echo that. This has been kind of a way for me to try and find what path in IT I might want to take and really build the skills I can utilize to help any company I go to, especially where I'm currently at. I feel like the skills here are just so transferable to really anything. And this has been a great ride. I'm going on into 301 like Alex. I hope to be able to participate in a 401 down the road and really learn some cybersecurity. And yeah, I don't need anything but a good night's sleep at this point.
Oh,
You go.
okay. Thank you. I think that I'm also taking the 301 in a couple weeks. I'm really looking forward to just continuing to learn more. I think that's definitely what I need more than anything else. But I'm excited. I feel like I have the tools to do that. We have a fantastic instructor. And also, just again, to reiterate, this has been an amazing group of students, the teamwork that we have, and just the way we mesh together. I always feel really supported, and I'm the type of person that if I don't know the answer, I get so frustrated. It's been a huge transition for me to learn that it's not about knowing necessarily, it's just about the ability to figure it out. And I have really enjoyed working with this group on our ops challenges and our labs, and we've all said at length how heartbroken we are that we're losing the CCR guys for 301. Still not over it, but I know that we'll probably continue to have our meetups and definitely meet up in person when it's safe to do so.
I too am going on to the 301 class. I would say what I would like is hopefully to find my next and last profession.
So like Bill, I'm also part of the CCR R2D2 program. So in Helka, I'm gonna miss you guys too. But where I've come to in the past year has really been a huge step for me. I'm 30 years old and I'm starting to take these steps to further my education, to better myself. And I'm so happy for all of the people I've been able to meet through this process. Everyone has been helpful in the coding program. One of the instructors told us cooperate and graduate, and like that goes beyond school. And that's to dovetail back to the question about advice. If you want to go into the ops career, just you're going to get an amazing experience with amazing people if you do. And I'm just happy with where I've been able to come thus far, and I'm excited to see what happens next.
Well, I think I'm still at the beginning stages of what's going to happen with me in my career. But like at this point, going through all these projects and the individual learning steps that we went through, I think I have a better understanding of like what it's actually going to look like now, as opposed to just like, hey, I'm getting into IT. That's great. You know, what does that mean? So that was the biggest help. I mean, like obviously the technical side of it's great and all that, but the biggest help for me was to kind of get a better understanding of what everything means, how all these roles interact, and like what kind of position I can take. So I'll be going back to CCR, furthering the NOC training program and getting Network Plus certified. So who's next?
I'll go. I am also going on to the 301 class. Also, if anybody's still watching out there, do take advantage of the free coding class. I'm definitely gonna do that because it's free and you get to learn skills that if you don't learn something, you just wasted one day, but it won't be a wasted day. And that's about all I have to say. I'm available for hire, and you can look at my LinkedIn profile.
I did want to echo her comment on the Code 101. I took that. It was the Saturday after the first week of this course, and it was a long day and it was a crash course, but it was fantastic. I mean, I learned so much in a day with the instructor and the group. So you can't pass up free. If anyone's got an interest or if you know anyone, recommend they sign up. It's awesome.
Yeah, DeltaV just continues to surprise me. I guess I'd have to say that, you know, I'm also one of the CCR guys, so I'm done after this, unfortunately. But I definitely will still want to keep in touch. So I'll be going back to CCR, and like Scott said and Jay said, kind of working on that NOC technician training and whatnot. So it's just really cool because through this program, it's kind of helped reaffirm that what I'm doing now is what I want to do. It's so much better and so much more fulfilling than, you know, my prior jobs and or careers, if you want to call them that. So I'm just excited for what's to come.
That's awesome. Thank you, everybody. I am clearly biased being a part of this organization, but I can tell you I spent 16 years hiring help desk folks and network and system administrators. And if I would have had applicants that came and, you know, presented with what they learned at something like DeltaV, and just even watching these pitches, I thought, how many conversations have I had that have been talking about these exact things? And especially knowing that maybe on their resume there was nothing IT related before going through something like this. you know, these folks are in high demand, and I would have hired them in a second. So you guys did a phenomenal job. Thank you very much. And again, just huge thanks to, I mean, this clearly wouldn't be possible if we didn't have really innovative companies like Involta and CCR, you know, creating programs to hire folks, and Project Iowa, you know, training up folks and getting them ready for these high demand careers. And of course, Future Ready Iowa and the state just investing in getting people into these high demand careers as quickly as possible, which is what we're trying to do here. So obviously the curriculum is teaching the students a lot about what they need to know about these careers, but also just trying to get them career ready. So a lot of real world practical application for when they do step foot either into that employer's place of business or remotely connecting with them and starting this this help desk and network and system administration work. So thanks to all of you students. Dan, an amazing job. Thank you so much for leading them through all this for the very first time ever. Really excited to see what happens with the 301 students. Also equally excited to see what happens at CCR with you folks as you kind of continue through their program. So thanks everybody for attending, and thank you all. We'll see you next time.